come you can't see it?
No, it says preview not supported. That's right. It's recorded. So if you want to talk to,
Okay. So I'm just leaving 1/4 of an inch.
and everything's inside out, right? Both sides.
Right. It's inside out. The two pieces are facing each other. I'm just going to do a little bit back and forth at the edges to reinforce the sewing. I'm just going to leave it there and do the,
So you start on the flat edge, right?
I start on the flatter edge instead of versus the pointy side. The foot and raise the needle to get rid of it, or to get it out. Cut off any excess thread. Am I doing the basic one or the one?
Whatever you want. Because it just depends on where you put the needle. Yeah, no, you could do the fancy one.
Okay. So on the curved edges, I'm just going to cut.
You do that on the last one, right?
No.
You don't have to?
I don't know. I don't really know what the benefit of this is, but that's what it says in the videos. So I'm just snipping a little bit, which is supposed to help it on the curves with.
So it doesn't bunch up.
So yeah, so it doesn't bunch up as much on the seams. So I'm doing that on each one. And then to reinforce the seams, I'm going to turn it right side out and pull the seam tight, but make sure that the leftover fabric is only to one side. And then I'm going to sew right
just to the seam,
just to the right of the stitch is the side that I prefer. And I just kind of keep checking to make sure that the excess fabric is still to the right. And I'm just sewing to the right of the seam. And I'm going to do the same thing with the inside piece. Turn it right side out. And I'm going to start on the flatter edge, and the excess fabric is going to stay to the same side as I did with the other piece. As long as it's on the same side, then it'll work out, because then they'll be opposite when you match them up. And again, I'm just going to check to make sure that the excess fabric is still to the right. Lift the foot and lift the needle, cut the thread, cutting the excess thread. So then you can see the extra stitch on the outside right here. just kind of reinforces the seam for both pieces. And then you're gonna have the front of the mask be right side out, and then the liner is gonna be inside out. You're gonna line them up. So this is the nose part, the one with the side with the curve.
Good side to good side.
Yeah. And then you can either use pins, I use these clips, but you're just gonna clip it together so that it stays together. Line up the seams. So as you can see, we sewed the right side of the excess fabric on each piece so that it's now opposite. It's now opposite when you put them together. It's now opposite when you put them together. And
excuse the belch.
I'm just going to clip it here. So now we have it clipped. I'm clipping it to the right of the seam on each side. Just because that's how I prefer to clip it together. And then we're going to sew the two pieces, the liner and the front of the mask together. And again, I'm going to start at the edge of the liner here, about 1/4 of an inch in. And again, just going to reinforce that edge. Lift the needle, raise the foot, cut the thread, cut the excess thread, and then I'm going to do the other side. Again, starting at the edge of the liner and then going about 1/4 of an inch in and doing a reinforcement. And I just came unthreaded, so I'm going to rethread it. So I'm just going to pull it out. And it looks like I got a little bit of a jam, so I'm just going to pull out the excess thread. Cutting off the extra thread. Yeah, so I'm just gonna slice a little bit of the curves again to make leeway for the so that it doesn't bunch up as much. And I'm gonna cut this a little bit. Make sure not to cut along the seam. And then I'm going to turn it right side out. Just pushing on the seams to make sure that they're all stretched out.
Just re-iron
And then I'm just gonna iron it so that it's all lined
it.
up.
Can you just put it in front of the camera so it's, because sometimes the camera will see you doing that. Show that where you just,
Oh, I was just stretching out the seams with my fingers. After I turned it right side out. And now I'm gonna iron it real quick.
it's only for our use, it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, so now I have ironed it. I'm going to reinforce the seams just like I did with the other two pieces, like this.
So do you sew it upside down when you do that? Or
It doesn't matter, I don't think. I don't really know. And again, it came unthreaded, so I'm going to rethread it. Not sure why it does this. So you can see there's a teeny tiny hook on the side of on the front side of the needle that you want to get the thread hooked onto, and then you turn this and pull it up so that it threads it, and then you just pull through the loop.
you know how to do that there?
You know how to thread a needle?
Thread the needle. You don't do it by hand, it doesn't really matter. Oh.
Is really annoying, so I'm going to cut it. I'm just cutting and just threading along the edge to reinforce. This is all good.
Where's the game clock?
I don't know. Excess thread, and then I'm going to do the other side. I can't unthread it again. Oh wait, maybe it didn't. You got it? Oh yeah, it's working, okay. Cutting the excess thread. Okay, so now as you can see, we've got the reinforced seams here. And then on the bottom as well. So now I'm just going to fold it over about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch twice. And then I'm going to sew it on the inside part. Just make sure to reinforce those edges. Same thing on the other side. Fold it over about 3/4 or a 1/2 inch, somewhere in that vicinity, and then sew it right on the inside edge. It's not, it's fine. That's because I cut it on this thing. I cut it on the side.
I just need 10 inches or so. Joy Reed got the 7 o'clock slot permanently.
Oh, really?
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh. I was kind of hoping Steve Kornacki would get it. So here's the... And we've got our President of the United States of America ruler.
Where'd you
So
get
we're
that?
being patriotic at the JFK Library,
Where's that?
Boston.
How long did you have that?
I think I got it when I went for the... I'm doing 10 inches, just to be safe. I got it when I went up for the marathon, so like 2017, I think.
So you're going 1/2 inch?
So I do about a 1/2 inch, go in. I usually do the farther away side, or it's pretty much the more difficult side to thread, to sew. Sew the shit out of it, back and forth. So, because the string is so skinny, I'm not changing any of the settings on the machine, because it's pretty much reinforcing it just by going back and forth, instead of doing any zigzag stitches or anything like that. So now I'm going to loop it around and do another 1/2 inch on the other side. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to put a little stopper to help with the sizing. And now we have one side, and I've got these little rubber stoppers. Looks like this. One side's more open than the other. So I'm going to fold it in half and then put it in the larger side. Then I'm going to take a safety pin, and I'm going to kind of stick it through the top and just try to pull it out like that. And then you can either tie it here or leave it untied. That way, if you want to take the stopper off, you can. Just make sure, but if you want to use it, you can slide it down to tighten the mask if you want. And now we have the other side. So I'm going to do the farther edge first. Just go back and forth as many times do that. Cut off the excess, fold it around, do another 1/2 inch. Oh, and it came unthreaded, so I have to rethread it. Which I have no idea if it's user error or if it's just a
Does this
piece of
happen all the
shit
time recently, or
sewing machine.
does this happen recently or all the time?
No, all the time. Lift the needle, cut the thread. Okay, then we have the other side, and we've got this rubber piece, so I'm just gonna fold it in half, put it through the larger side, take the safety pin, and then just try to thread it through. So now you've got your flag mask with the adjustable ear straps.